Hey, everybody. Good morning. It is now Tuesday, June 16th, and we are here in the annex once again with Bebop's Kittens. And I want to jump right in and explain that, obviously, I'm making a joke in the title of this video, but it is a reminder to me that there's a few things that I do want to try to explain or discuss today about the kittens. Especially regarding a lot of questions and comments that we have gotten. But before I do, just in the nature of explaining the joke, I do want to point out that we're certainly always open to questions and comments, and sometimes we get some in that are very helpful, and we get some that are things that we didn't think of, and it can be very, very helpful sometimes. And sometimes it's not, and that's okay too. I think that the times that we do get suggestions or ideas or comments that are super helpful make up for all the times that we get ones that aren't, which is okay too. And I know more than anything that everybody is trying their best to help out, and we really appreciate that regardless. That's something we can always appreciate. We know everybody's trying their best to be helpful for us and for these kittens, and we like that a lot. So as much as I'm making light of it with the title of this video, I hope you understand that I am just making light of it. I'm not I'm not suggesting that anybody should do anything differently as far as communicating with us. So look at that, must be Retro because I can see one eye is open. And last night we noticed that Retro has one eye starting to peep already very early. It is normally, you expect the average to be about 10 days till an eye opens. And it opened yesterday, which was, I think, day 5. How about that? Um, this, by the way, this is not open eyes. See, it's just a shadow. You're going to see an awful lot of that. That's the thing that we see all the time. Everybody's like, are those eyes open? Are those eyes open? They are not. Usually not. Usually it's just a shadow. So you will see a lot of that. But this has to be Retro. Let's check. Yes, it is. We can tell from the short white sock. And yesterday, Retro got one of her eyes partway open. I think it's sort of an early open because she doesn't seem like she's really all about it yet. So the other one might take its time. But that's okay. Nothing to worry about there. So I wanted to talk about a few of the things that people have written to us about. First off, folks have noticed the kittens twitching a lot. They'll be laying there and they'll sort of shake in their sleep or twitch, or their little legs will shake all of a sudden. And you can see there's a little bit of that going on right now. Of course, there you go. You see just a little bit happening there. Super, super normal. I know a lot of people say it's that they're having dreams. I don't know. I've never been a kitten. I don't know what the experience is like for them, but I do know that all the kittens do this. It's very, very normal. So certainly nothing to be the least bit concerned about. Some folks say that they're dreaming. Some folks say that it's a way of building muscles. I don't see why it couldn't be both. I do know I don't know what the answer is. All I know for sure is that it is very, very normal. So nothing to be concerned about there. On the topic of things that are normal and probably nothing to be concerned about, kittens scream a lot. That's very normal, especially when you manipulate them or when their mom is manipulating them, or when she comes in, she lays down, she stirs them up. They do yell a lot. And it's normal for once in a while one of them to wander off on their own across the box. Sometimes they stay there for a while, like an hour, all by themselves. And if you're not retro, if you're vinyl and you do that, you also like to scream the whole time because that's what you can do. So that's another thing that is really normal kitten behavior, is going off for a little walk on your own, sometimes getting a little lost, but eventually you find your way back. And I can tell you another thing about finding their way back is that yesterday I saw Bebop here twice go pick up a kitten and carry it back to the group, which I didn't even know she knew how to do, but she's proven that she does. So when she thinks it's a concern, she knows how to solve it too, and that's great. Um, Another thing that happens a lot is she'll come in here and sit down on the kittens, and they are fine with that. I like to mention to people that she's been sitting on them for 2 months when they were inside her, so why should it be any different now that they're outside? But that's just a way of me trying to be clever and probably failing quite a bit. Uh, Honestly, though, the kittens are fine when she sits on them, and they will yell and they'll push and wiggle and squirm and pop out. And if they haven't popped out in a couple minutes, then I like to come in and help out. But I don't think that it's strictly necessary. We've seen an awful lot of that, and it's never been an issue. I keep mentioning to folks that it's normal for mom cats to pant a lot after they deliver their kittens, but I haven't seen our mom here panting at all. So she must be exceptionally cool. I guess pun intended. All right. I also know that it is very difficult to tell some of these kittens apart. Oh, hang on. I hear one purring. That's a rare thing here. Hang on. I want you to listen for something that sounds like a little clicking Geiger counter, kind of. Of course, it stops as soon as I move in to get it. Wait, there's a little. All right. Well, forget it. We're not going to get it. But little tiny at this age, the kittens do purr, but it sounds, it's very sort of. Well, I always compare it to a Geiger counter. I think it's a pretty apt comparison. So, anyway, I'm sure I failed to get that on the audio whatsoever, but I tried. So I was about to say, I know it's very, very difficult to tell this group apart, and we've gotten an awful lot of suggestions as far as things that other kitten fosters do commonly. Things like putting on collars, little paper collars, little pieces of string, Velcro. I've seen the Velcro collars a lot of times. We've been sent little silicone. Yes, I always get those two confused. Uh, Collars and stuff to put on them, and I don't know that there's anything wrong with that, but I just don't trust it for kittens this small. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put any of those kinds of collars on kittens this small. Because they're just too wiggly and it would be too easy to get caught up in something. And we just don't want that to happen. So I know we've got a lot of people watching. And if anything went wrong, I'm sure we would get informed immediately. But I don't want to put collars on them yet. Now, we do have a giant box of collars made specifically for kittens that I love that we are going to put on these kittens, but not until they reach probably about a month old is when they'll be ready for that. And then we'll put the collars on them. Then it'll be real easy to tell them apart. Until then, I think that you might just have to live with a little bit of uncertainty. I am. Now, we've tried other things. There's a solution that I like the idea of quite a bit. We've got these food coloring pens, and we've done that in the past where we've painted the kittens with food coloring. But I tried it with this group, and the mom is Bebop there is just way too good at keeping them clean, and so it would have to keep putting it on every couple hours, and it's just not worth it when I can tell the kittens apart right now. So I think that's good enough for the moment. I know it would be really nice if all of you could tell them apart, but I just don't think it's in the cards for this class yet. So I hope you guys can put up with that a bit. I do apologize for it, though. I know it can be frustrating to be wondering which kitten is which. So let me go through it just a little bit how I tell them apart. Like I said before, I separate them into groups. First off, these two right over here next to each other are dilutes. They're both a little bit lighter colored than the others, and I think you can tell that on the stream. And that's Indy and Ironic. And the way I tell them apart right now is Indy is a little bit darker. I mean, just a shade, just the tiniest shade darker. And because one of them is laying on their back right now, I can't even tell which one it is. But if you would flip over and show us both your backs, then I could really tell it. There we go. I think this is the one that's just a little shade darker than that one. You see that, right? So the one that's just a little bit darker is Indy, and the one that's just a little bit lighter is Ironic. Makes sense, right? So I think you can tell. And then if we want to keep separating them into groups, we have these two that have gotten together here. These are the ones that are both what I'm calling all orange, which means they don't have boots. They don't have little white boots. I know this kind of looks like a little white boot. Wait, it really looks like it. No? Okay. See, I get confused. The ones that have the real white boots, though, it's very obvious. See how white that is? And then see how white this isn't? Maybe I have to put them next to each other. Anyway, of the ones that are all orange, we have a boy and a girl, and I know that doesn't help you guys at all. It doesn't help me that much either, because I have to pick them up and actually have a look to tell which one is the boy and which one is the girl. The one that I just picked up is our girl, and this one, that makes this one the boy then. So our little girl here is Bespoke. I've been calling her Bessie because I really like it. She might end up B or who knows, but that's Bespoke. And that makes the boy, this must be the boy, Artie. And if you are following along at home, Artie is sort of become the runt of this class. It wasn't initially, but is fallen behind a bit. So Artie has been getting extra feedings, which is another thing I'm going to talk about in just a minute. But we'll come back around to that after I finish showing you the last three kittens. Here you can see what the white boots look like and what no white boots look like pretty clearly. Well, these three all kind of have white boots though. But this one doesn't, even though it's a dilute. So I think you get that idea. And this one doesn't, because this one is our little boy, Artie. And I do mean little. I think you can even see that size difference. It's really starting to show, isn't it? Oh, but now the leg's not showing, is it? Artie, come on. All right, so no boots, no boots. This one has a boot. Let's see, come on now, Artie, come here. I'm trying to make this easy on everybody. There you go. Now you can clearly see not only the difference in color, but in size. So Artie's a little bit behind, and we're working on that. And like I said, I'll come back to talking about that. But now, so the next group are the two with boots, and we've got a boy and a girl there. And the boy is this one who has the boot that comes all the way up over this first joint. And the girl then is this one that has the boot that doesn't come all the way up. Right there, you can see it a little shorter. Plus, I think, and I'm not looking, but I think the girl doesn't have the boots in front, and the boy does have the boots in front. This is the boy. I'm pointing at the wrong one. This is the boy here, which leaves one kitten by itself, and that's Vinyl. And Vinyl obviously has white and has boots, but also has a very distinctive collar, a little white collar. There you go. You can see a little bit of it there that comes all the way up over the back. I'm not going to disturb because Vinyl's in there nursing. So I know everybody's looking for a nickname like V for Vinyl, but I don't know if Vinyl needs a nickname. I like the name Vinyl. I don't know, though. That's not my final answer. I reserve the right to change it later. Anyhow, so that's how I tell them apart. And I know some of that's not helpful, especially when I'm telling the two oranges apart by gender. You're not going to be able to just check that on the stream. Sorry. But like I said, when they get a little bit older, we will be able to do something about that a little better. And until then, it doesn't hurt to live a little bit in the question, does it? Now, I know Artie is the one that everybody is super concerned about, though, so I might put a note on, a little mark on him with the marker just to see if I can help make it easy for everybody to tell them apart. It helps me, too, when I'm out around the house and I'm looking at the TV to tell them apart at a glance. So that brings me to, I guess, the next thing, which is about Artie, who is definitely fallen behind in nursing and in size. So he's still super active though, and he gets around. He's got plenty of energy. So I don't. He's not sick or anything. He doesn't have any sort of sign, no respiratory problems, no gunk, no nothing. Just he's in great shape. He just isn't gaining. Um, so what we are doing is we are tube feeding him. And I wanted to talk to everybody about that too, because we're getting an awful lot of suggestions about bottle feeding and syringe feeding and, why are you using the tube? Did you try the bottle? All that kind of stuff. And so, excuse me, the short answer is yeah, of course, we tried bottle feeding him, but there's a longer answer, which is, in my experience, at least, kittens that have nursed on mom very rarely will take to a bottle. It takes a lot of work, and vice versa. Actually, we had, for instance, Charlie was a kitten that grew up nursing on the bottle, and then we brought him to a mom cat, and he couldn't figure it out. So I think it works both ways. They tend to have one that they go for right off the bat, and then they stick to it. So it makes it very difficult to do bottle feeding supplements for a kitten that's nursing. I'm not saying it's impossible. Some kittens do it. Also, in the past, DJ and I have done the bottle feeding or syringe feeding for kittens that have been nursing as supplements, but it's very, very difficult when they don't want it. You've got to basically sit there and just sort of drip it into their mouth, a tiny little drip, drip, drip at a time, very, very slowly, and wait for them to swallow it. And if they're not going to take to it and nurse, it takes forever, and it's frustrating, and they never get enough. It's a bad way to do things. It's how we've done it in the past, and I hate it. And I'm glad that we now have the alternative, which is the tube feeding, which is something that we have just started doing. And I am loving it. It is very quick. It's very easy, and I think it's working out very well for Artie there. He's definitely getting more food that way than he would otherwise, and he can't really reject it the way that he's already rejected taking it from a bottle for me. So I think it's great. Plus, it is safer than our old method. If we just keep dripping it into their mouths, then they don't always want to swallow it the right way, and it can be a real mess. With the tube, you get it in there, you get it done. There's no risk of going down the wrong tube because it literally can't. So it is a lot safer in that sense. It's really got everything going for it. Now, if you guys have been tuned in when I'm doing it, I don't do it on the stream, and that's probably not going to change. I know some folks would like to see it, and it would be informative, but it's just not the sort of thing I think we can do. It's just it's a little disturbing to see. I'm not going to deny. It looks uncomfortable, and certainly Artie acts like it's uncomfortable, but we try to move quickly. If you want to see it done by somebody who's had a lot of experience in a video that's not disturbing, in my opinion, our friend Sarah Donner has a video that I actually used to help learn how to do it. It's very informative, and you can find it right here on YouTube. You would just search for Sarah Donner loose change tube, because the kitten was named Loose Change. Make sure you don't get the wrong video, though, because there's a video called Loose Change, or used to be anyway. It's a completely different thing, not related at all to kittens or Sarah Donner. So if you do search for it, search for Sarah Donner Loose Change Tube, and you will see Sarah and Michael tube feeding a kitten very professionally. I found it super helpful. It's a great video. And yeah, so if you want to see it, that's how you see it. And if you want to see the tube, well, I'll have to remember to show you. It's downstairs because I take it down there to wash it off every time when I'm done. So So anyway, that explains why I'm tube feeding rather than bottle feeding, and why I'm going to stick to the tube, because it's just much easier and safer. And also why I'm not going to show it on the stream when I do, because it is exactly the kind of thing that I think, we're not here. If we have a choice between educating everybody and showing, and it means showing something that would disturb some people, we'll skip it. There's plenty of people out there that are doing the education stuff very, very well, better than we could, even if we wanted to. So we'd rather keep things light as much as we can, and we'll go for that. So, at any rate, I'm loving this new technique. It's new to me anyway. And when we had the KA Con last year, and Sarah Donner and Michael were there, that somebody had asked them on the panel, what's one thing that you wish that you'd learned earlier as kitten fosters? And they both said, hands down, tube feeding is the one thing that it's so easy and it's so much better. And they wish that they'd started it a long time ago. And now I feel the same way. I do wish we'd had it a long time ago. So anyway. That's our little boy. You can tell from the long sock that that's a vintage. Anyway, the boy Vent. Well, hey, it's been 20 minutes. I want to take some time and have you guys see Gabby's kids, so we're going to do that too. I should mention, speaking of things that we're doing now that we didn't do before, I got a milk warmer for the kitten's milk, which is in that jar, and it is so nice because what DJ and I used to use was a little, well, we've used a lot of techniques. We've used like a cup of hot water and a thermometer, and then we've also used a cup warmer and a thermometer. And it's just so fiddly and annoying. And that thing, it took me a long time to find a bottle warmer that would let you adjust the temperature to an exact number. I don't know why they don't make a lot of those. A lot of them are just like, they're automatically set to the right temperature for human babies with no input from you, or else they'll give you like a warm and a cool setting, but no actual numbers. I had to do some real hunting to find a milk warmer that would let me set it to an actual number temperature and maintain that temperature. But we found one, and it does exactly what it ought to do. It keeps it at exactly that temperature, which is great. I'm really, really happy about it. It makes life so much easier when you've got milk out for kittens. So another thing I wish that we'd had a long time ago, although it is something I looked for a long time ago and just couldn't find one that has that setting. But now we do. So here we are. You guys probably haven't seen as much of the gifts, the three kittens of Gab, on the stream lately as you would like. I know I haven't seen as much of them on the stream as I would like, but I've seen a lot more of them in person. And that's because they spent the last 2 nights out around the house. Well, they spent last 2 nights in the spa and around the house. Last night, I left the door open. They got full run of the house. But they actually just hung out with me in the spa all night because they're little sweethearts. And that's been a lot of fun. Tonight, they're definitely going to stay in their room and be on the stream because I know, first off, I know that their adopters want to see how they're doing. They don't want to just completely lose track of them now that we have some new kittens in. But also because it's time to give the faculty a break. I'm not going to have them out every single night. So they can stay in here tonight. Not going to stay in here all day though. They're gonna go out and run around during the day. The only reason I have them closed in here right now is I was planning on going out to run some errands, including going to the vet to get Acro's new injectable medicine, which I haven't done yet, but that's still on my list. So they'll probably stay in here until after I run that errand, assuming that's what I'm going to do after the close-up. So if you guys don't know, this one is Blarney. I think Blarney's the one that his adopter is going to rename her. I keep saying him. These are all three girls. Rename her to Tornado, which may be appropriate. Certainly a little wild one. And then this one is Scuttlebutt. Hi, Scuttlebutt. Haven't heard about Scuttlebutt being renamed, although I might have those two backwards. I'm not completely sure. I mean, as far as the renaming goes. And then, of course, we have Banter here, who is going to be, I think, going to be renamed to Penelope Olivia. At least I know that's what they're calling her right now, which is a great name. Banter, Scuttlebutt, and Blarney. And they are all sweethearts, and you can see that as soon as I came in the room, they all got up from what they weren't doing to come over and hang out with me and wrestle and play. They're very, very fun kittens, and they're going to be great for their adopters. And I still haven't remembered to check the date that we set for their spay exactly before I come into a close-up, which I need to do so I can tell you guys for sure. I just know it's the week of the 4th of July. It's before the 4th, so it's probably right around the 1st. And that'll be coming right up. Won't be long at all. Speaking of Acro, I know people are going to want to know how is Acro doing, and the short answer is about the same. I wish I could tell you guys that he was doing vastly better, but not yet. But that's okay. He's still feeling good, and he's still in his own room right now because I am trying to keep an eye on how he's eating and pooping. And I switched up his diet just a little bit. I wanted him to eat even more, so I gave him some dry food in the hopes that he would eat even more. He really liked it at first, but then it seemed like maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, my point is, we're still working on sorting things out with him, and while I'm sorting it out, I'd like to be able to monitor what he's doing, and that's easier if he's isolated from the other cats. I think I explained that before. If he's just out running around the house, then I don't really know how much he ate or pooped. But if he's in his own room, then I do. So it's that simple. That's all. He's happy in there, though. And I go in there every day and watch some TV with him. I went in there and ate some cookies with him yesterday and watched some TV, and it was fun. And so he's getting lots of the attention that he wants. He's a pretty cool cat anyway. Like I said, I've been having trouble giving him his oral medicine. As cool as he is, you would never think of Acro as the kind of guy that would hate to take medicine, but giving him oral medicine is almost impossible, and he's really strong too. So when he decides to resist something, it is awful. And I've managed to get all the medicine that he's supposed to get into him, but it's been a near thing, which is why I'm going to the vet to pick up some injectable medicine instead. I think it will be much easier to give him an injection than try to get something into his mouth. So that should be the deal. Also, we do have a appointment set up with the neurologist for Acro on the 23rd, and I'm hopeful that that will help us figure out what's going on and what to do next. Even if it doesn't, I'm kind of excited just to see how it goes. So we'll find out. Anyway, hey, that's all the news. That's all the kittens. I know I talked a lot. I hope I covered everything. I hope I did it in a way that was kind and made sense. I'm trying. And I guess that's it. So I want to say thank you guys all so much. First off, I want to say thank you so much for being so helpful. Such truly wonderful, helpful people that are concerned about the cats and the kittens and that just want the best for them, just like we do. You're the best kind of people, and we do appreciate that. So I want to say thank you so much for that. I also want to say thank you all so much for watching. I've said it before, but our whole goal here is to get these cats and kittens adopted out to good homes, get them healthy and adopted out, I guess I should say. And just having people watch on YouTube increases our numbers, increases our viewership, and helps get these kittens adopted. So that alone is great, but then some of you go way beyond that and donate to their care on our Patreon. I appreciate that too. It is wonderful. You are all great people, so thank you so much for that. And thank you for the chat. I do appreciate it in the morning. And thank you to the mods for modding. And thank you to the kittens for being adorable. Oh my gosh. And yeah, hey, that's it. If you want to keep watching these kittens and those kittens, all you have to do is tune into the Kitten Academy live stream right here on YouTube. It's all day long, every day long. That reminds me. Yesterday I talked about all the stuff I wanted to try to get done yesterday, and I only got a tiny fraction of it done. Um, in addition to running those errands today, more house cleaning, and I might actually get to some of the important things I promised, like um, fixing up our network and getting a blog post up with pictures of the new kittens in it. Hopefully, those things will happen today, although it does seem like a pretty busy day already. We'll see. Um, oh gosh, there was something else along those lines that I felt was yes, uploads. I'm currently uploading. You may have seen I just finished making Belle's birth archive public. Don't get that confused with the new kitten's birth archive. It is Belle's, not the new ones. Now I am uploading the last two mailbags, and I'm uploading the unedited version of the new Kitten's birth archive. It is like 12 hours long. I don't expect anybody to watch it, but I am uploading it. It's going to take all day to upload. That will all appear over the course of the next day. That's the last two mailbags and the birth archive for the new kittens that is unedited. I still would like to try to make an edited version for people that want to watch it but don't want to sit around or try to search through 12 hours. And I will work on that at some point, but I've got such a backlog. It's really not the priority for me. Plus, I don't know if you guys know how YouTube works, but once that 12-hour archive is up, anybody can post comments that include what time things happen, and those comments become clickable. And you can just click on the time in the comment, and it'll skip to that time in the video. So it may not even be necessary to post an edited version if people get in the comments and start posting where all the interesting stuff happens, people can easily find it. I don't know, just a thought. Uh, just a reason why it's not going to be one of my top priorities to get that done, but it's still on my list, you know? Anyway, all right, that's it. Thanks again, everybody. I really appreciate all of you, and I will talk to you again with another close-up like this tomorrow. I'll see you then. Well, that's a great way to finish the stream, Scuttlebutt. Mm-hmm.